This year, 48 AD, the Empress Valeria Messalina's bold schemes and infidelity come to an end. Paul the Apostle completes his first missionary journey, and the XIONGNU Confederacy north of China splits into two factions. Welcome to the Yearly Histories, where we will highlight the major events that take place in the Common Era year by year. Last year, we saw Governor Scapula suppressing resistance in Roman Britannia, General Corbulo fighting off Germanic raids in Germania, and the celebrations surrounding Rome's 800th anniversary. Last year, we saw several instances of Roman forces under the new governor, Publius Astorius Scapula, successfully suppressing Britain resistance to Roman rule. This year, Scapula moves beyond the frontier to lead an attack on the Decangli tribe in the northwest. This move allows the Romans to reach the sea in the western part of Britannia, effectively cutting off the Briton tribes in the west from those in the north. But immediately, Scapula is recalled to deal with the Brigantes who are staging a rebellion. This is also quickly suppressed with a Roman legion being stationed in their territory to ensure a longer-lasting peace. Over the course of the reign of Claudius, we have covered the nefarious reputation for promiscuity and deviousness attributed to his young wife, Valeria Messalina. Thus far, she has succeeded in manipulating Claudius into exiling and ordering the death of several of her social and political opponents, but all of that now comes to an end. On a visit to Ostia, on the outskirts of Rome, overseeing the progress of the new harbor, Portus, Claudius is informed that his wife Messalina had gone so far as to marry her latest lover, Senator Gaius Silius, in Rome. She boldly held a costly wedding banquet during the emperor's absence. The freedman, Narcissus, convinces Claudius that the intentions of her gambit were to have him overthrown in favor of her lover, Gaius Silius. Claudius rushes back to Rome and visits the house of Silius, where he finds a great many heirlooms of his Claudii and Drusii forebears, taken from his house and gifted to Silius by Messalina. Despite the mounting evidence against her, Claudius's feelings are softening, and he asks to see her in the morning for a private meeting. Narcissus, pretending to act on Claudius's instructions, orders an officer of the Praetorian Guard to execute her. When the troop of guards find Messalina, who has taken refuge with her mother, she is given the option of taking her own life. Unable to muster the courage to slit her own throat, she is killed by the thrust of a sword from one of the guards. Upon hearing the news, Emperor Claudius does not react and simply asks for another chalice of wine. In the aftermath of this scandalous affair, the Roman Senate orders a damnatio memoriae, erasing Messalina's name from all public and private places and having all statues of her taken down. Claudius also shakes up the political environment in Rome this year by proposing to allow nobles from Gaul to hold magistracies and join the Roman Senate. This sparks debate. Some oppose the idea, arguing it would undermine Roman tradition and Italian prestige, while others support it, pointing out the province's loyalty and integration into the empire. Claudius defends the proposal with historical examples, emphasizing that including provincial elites would strengthen and unify the empire. In the end, the Gallic nobles are granted jus honorum, or the right to hold Roman offices. Claudius has also occupied the office of censor since last year, which is a position responsible for maintaining the census, supervising public morality, and overseeing certain aspects of the government's finances. He ordered a census to be conducted over the course of his censorship, and the results are in, with a population of 5,984,072 Roman citizens being revealed. This is in contrast to the census of Augustus in 14 AD, which showed a population of 4,937,000 citizens, indicating a population increase of 1 million in the last 34 years. It is worth noting that this is not the totality of the people actually residing within the empire, as most of the residents are non-citizens or slaves. Now it's time to catch up on what Paul the Apostle has been up to. Last time we heard about him, he had journeyed to the holy city of Jerusalem and met with Peter and James in 38 AD. In this year, he has completed his first missionary journey, which began 2 years prior, with the goal of spreading Christianity in the face of persecution. Last year, he was asked by Barnabas, a man from the island of Cyprus, and his missionary companion, to come to the city of Antioch, where a sectarian dispute is underway. At this point in time, Antioch is the third largest city in the Roman Empire, and is the home to many Christians who fled persecution in Jerusalem. Quote, "The Antioch Christians took a critical step towards severing the relationship with the local Jewish community by establishing the first separate Christian church, which they built onto a cave just outside the city walls. This theological ferment gave rise to considerable tension between Christian factions, and this was precisely why Barnabas had summoned Paul to Antioch." Unquote. The factions in question are the Jewish Christians from Judea, who believe that they hold supremacy over the Gentile Christians, or non-Jewish Christians, and believe that they have to follow Jewish practices such as circumcision and follow Mosaic law. Both sides eventually agree to take the issue to Jerusalem before a council of elders, which is due to take place next year. And with that, Paul the Apostle's first missionary journey, where he promoted Christianity in Cyprus, Asia Minor, and Syria, is complete. In China, a violent uprising of the Aboriginal peoples breaks out in the Wuling Commandery. The veteran general Ma Yuan, who defeated the Lac Viet rebellion of the Trung sisters in the south years prior, volunteers to take command of the situation. Due to internal political rivalries, particularly with the Dou faction, they attempt to undermine his efforts by placing their supporters among his staff. In addition, one of these infiltrators writes to a collaborator in the capital, levying false accusations against Ma Yuan. The letter is shown to Emperor Guangwu himself, who orders an investigation of the commander's conduct. The uprising in Wuling Commandery will continue into the next year. In 46 AD, we mentioned how the militarily powerful XIONGNU Confederacy were in disarray after the death of their longtime Qianyu, or leader, and the devastating famine rocking their lands. Internal strife kicked off when the uncle of Punu Qianyu, Setuhu, declared that he would ask the Han dynasty for aid. Punu's supporters heard of this and wanted his uncle to be executed. Hearing of this, Setuhu moved to the Ordos region with an army of 50,000 of his own supporters. This year, the political turmoil continues as the Confederacy splits in two. Setuhu secures an alliance with the Han dynasty and declares himself to also be the Qianyu of the XIONGNU, taking the name of Bi. At this stage, the northern faction headed by Punu becomes the Northern XIONGNU, and the southern faction led by his uncle Bi becomes the Southern XIONGNU. As a stipulation of Bi's alliance with the Han, they are allowed to settle within Han territory, but they are also made confederates of the Han and are tasked with guarding the northern border. Now it's time for In Memoriam, where we look back on the lives of prominent figures who died in the year. Valeria Messalina was the third wife of Emperor Claudius and became Empress of Rome through their marriage. She birthed Claudius's biological son Britannicus, who was born in 41 AD. Known for her ambition and alleged promiscuity, she wielded significant influence at court, often eliminating and exiling political rivals through intrigue, such as the prominent philosopher Seneca the Younger. Her downfall came in 48 AD when she secretly married her lover Gaius Silius in what appeared to be a coup attempt. She was found and killed by Claudius's men, ending her dramatic and controversial life. We will leave this year, 48 AD, with the death of Valeria Messalina, Paul the Apostle intervening in religious disputes, and the XIONGNU being divided into a northern and southern faction. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to be notified when the next iteration of the early histories will be released. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next year in 49 AD to continue the fascinating stories of the world of antiquity and cover its major events.